Minato has won the Naruto P99 popularity contest, which means he's gonna get a new manga spin-off. Now, he wasn't even close to my top 10 picks for this manga spin-off when I was voting, but still, it's gonna be a breath of fresh air to just read a manga in the Naruto universe that's not related to aliens and imbecile jutsus like in Boruto, something that's actually written and drawn by Masashi Kishimoto, so it's gonna be interesting to say the least. Kishimoto hasn't drawn in a while, so I'm curious to see how well this manga spin-off is gonna compare to Naruto itself. But one thing's for certain, if Kishimoto were to draw manga with his feet, it would still be miles better than anything Kishimoto has ever done in his life. Regarding Minato itself, I see 3 directions they can go with a story for him in the spin-off. Each general direction has a particular time in the Naruto series that would take place on, and of course, several different stories can be told in any of these 3 broad categories. I'm gonna be breaking them down and what would be interesting to see for Minato in these particular stories. The first direction they can go with is just having a story with a younger Minato, maybe 12, 13, up until 15 years old, showing him working together with his team in the Leaf Village and being taught by Jiraiya. That would definitely be something interesting to see. Also, his relationship with Kushina during their teenage years would be something nice to see. People really enjoy Minato and Kushina's relationship. Though the problem is, this is going to be a very short spin-off manga series, so the focus shouldn't really be on other characters. Kushina couldn't really take that much space in the story. Also, if they were to do a younger Minato story, then it's going to be difficult to find a proper villain for the story, and of course, the story has to have a sort of villain. They can just make one up, but preparing the ground for a good villain takes time, and this is going to be a short spin-off. And Minato is extremely powerful even when he was young. They're probably going to depict him being a genius. I just hope they don't fall into the trap of making the manga just a power fantasy for Minato, just like every single light novel. But Kishimoto is actually very good at writing at extremely fast pace. He's done that for 700 chapters in the Naruto series. If you think Naruto is slow, it's because you've only watched the anime, because the manga has a breaking neck pace. Kishimoto is extremely good at condensing a lot of information in just a few panels using clever dialogue and images, and he also manages to invoke emotions on the reader with not a lot of panels. He was very good at that, and he probably will always be. He's rusty now, but I think this is gonna be a good manga. Now, for the second possible time frame where the story can take place on, that's obviously gonna be the Third Great Ninja War, which is the most prominent thing Minato has ever done prior to his death, essentially. He was one of the main characters of that war, the great hero of the Leaf Village, the Yellow Flash. He had flee-on-sight orders from their enemies, which means he dealt some damage. We saw decent glimpses of Minato in the war through flashbacks, especially in the Kakashi Gaiden series, where he was accompanying his team to destroy the bridge. He also fights against 1,000 stone ninjas, though we don't see that in panel. It's off-screen, but it's implied that he absolutely destroyed the stone village there. And then we see a confrontation between Minato and the Raikage when we get another set of flashbacks. A very interesting confrontation between the two. It's nice to see their powers interacting. The Raikage and Minato were the fastest ninjas alive. And yeah, he wasn't the Raikage at the time, but I'm referring to him as the Raikage because I don't like calling him A, because that's just kind of weird. It was interesting to see them fighting there, but they've already done that. So pitting Minato against the Raikage in a Third Great Ninja War manga spin-off would be very underwhelming. And sure, having a war to set your shonen battle series on is great. I could be very wrong about this, but I just get the feeling that there has been too much of a war arc in Naruto already, and Kishimoto will probably try to move away from that. Not that a story in the Third Great Ninja War about Minato himself couldn't be interesting. Kishimoto can always find a fascinating aspect of his universe and implement that into the story using Minato as the main character to tell said story, but I'm not sure if he's gonna do that again. More war. A worry I have with them doing the Third Great Ninja War out is that they could just make another mission with Team Minato, showing Kakashi, Obito, and Rin, which has already been done in Kakashi Gaiden, and frankly, I cannot stand more Kakashi and Obito flashback content, or even just Obito content at all. Those flashbacks got very obnoxious. They were annoying even in the manga, and Kishimoto is amazing at writing flashbacks that move the story well and have good pacing, but with the Obito and Kakashi flashbacks, those were bad, and it was far worse in the anime. I know everybody dislikes that, so I just don't want to see Kakashi and Obito again in flashback form. No thanks. The third time period I can see this taking place in is when Minato was the Hokage. Now, he was only Hokage for about a year. There was a very short reign as the Hokage and he died. So this was a brief window, but it's a year still. You can still definitely tell a story about that. Though the lore implies that that was a time of great peace and stability for the Leaf Village. Minato was hailed as the most powerful ninja they've had in generations. He was the Hokage, everything was good, they won the Third Great Ninja War, nothing really bad was going on. So it's a difficult place to tell a story. How are you gonna find conflict? Now, of course, you can, but the thing is, you can't really contradict too much stuff that was implied or introduced in the main series. And as much as I would enjoy seeing something like this, I don't think Kishimoto is going to write a political manga about Minato dealing with the workings of being a Hokage, because it's Naruto, it's a shonen series. I mean, so you really see Minato changing the tax rates of the Leaf Village and the monetary policy, working with the feudal lord to stabilize the economy in the Land of Fire? I don't really see that. Not at all. But seeing Hokage Minato in action again would probably be the thing that would make the fans excited for real. Sure, young Minato could be very nice, seeing him with Jiraiya and all that, though we kind of know how things pan out for young Minato. He becomes this prodigy. He is already kind of married with Kushina ever since they were both 12 years old, so there's no tension to see, oh, who's gonna get together with. And Third Great Ninja War, you can't really make him fight the Raikage. It wouldn't make sense for him to fight Onoki, because Onoki wasn't really in the front lines of the war. He was much more of a general, staying behind, commanding his troops. So there's nobody really that can fight properly against Minato and not be stomped. I get the feeling that they're going with the Hokage route. The issue is that the Hokages don't really go on missions. They stay in the village, protecting it, giving missions to other shinobis, but they have to leave sometimes for events, for diplomatic meetings, so there's plenty of excuses you can come up with for Minato to have to leave the village. And then when he leaves the village, something bad may happen, and then that's when the action kicks in. It would be nice to see why people really respected him as the fourth Hokage. Even though he was Hokage for such a short period of time, people still adored him up until Naruto Shippuden. And in this manga spin-off, we could get to see why that was. How did Minato treat the citizens in the Leaf Village? Did he do anything special while he was the Hokage? Because think about it. Usually politicians that stay for a year in power and then they go out of office, either because they died or something else happened, they are not really remembered. Minato is very much remembered. Now, maybe this is because he played such an important role in the war, but still, people really remembered him as the Hokage. This is the place where you can develop the character the most. Minato having to learn how to be a Hokage, how to rule over his people, because the other stuff, you can't really do much with Minato. I mean, he's a closed character. There's not much room for further development unless you really retcon things. You can't give him any glaring character flaws when he was young, because we see a very young Minato and he was always calm, collected, and pleasant. That's why I don't really like him that much. He's too much of a nice boy in my books. He does look very cool, and that's the primary reason why people love him so much, because of the cool factor, which, don't get me wrong, he's very cool, but there isn't a lot of room to grow here. So having him as the Hokage would probably be the best for a character arc perspective. Maybe not for an action perspective, that'll definitely be the Third Great Ninja War, but I get the feeling Kishimoto already knows what he's going to do. He probably has several stories he wanted to tell about several different characters, and I have no doubt in my mind he would have one of those for Minato, and this is the perfect time to tell it. Another plot thread I can see maybe them doing with the Minato Hokage route is Minato developing the Rasengan and eventually mastering it. We know Minato took 3 years to develop the Rasengan, so this would probably not be the focus of the story. I don't see the story being told in such a long span of time, unless Kishimoto has a different idea in mind that I'm just not seeing. Maybe he could do a story of Minato growing up and becoming the Hokage, and meanwhile he develops the Rasengan. I can see this being a plot thread. I am worried though, because it could seem repetitive, as we've seen the training for the Rasengan at length in part 1 with Naruto. Saying that again could be rather boring. Granted, creating an ability is different from learning it, but still the process would be very samey. Let me know if you guys want me to make a video pitching a particular story for this manga. What would you guys write for this Minato spin-off? Subscribe to this channel if you haven't done so already, like this video if you enjoy my content, and watch this other video right here for more entertaining Naruto videos. Thank you so much for watching.